we are excited as we continue down the road of podcasting. I am still Erica Williams. I don't think that I'll change that.
No, ma'am.
For the rest of my life, I get the pleasure of being Erica Williams, and you get the pleasure of being Travis Norton.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you today?
I am great.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, Travis Norton has been in Sumter. How many years have you actually lived in Sumter now?
So I did kindergarten, first grade here, and then came back.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I'm a replanted local, as
Wonderful.
I say.
Now, what elementary school did you attend?
Alice Drive.
Alice Drive Elementary School, kindergarten and second grade.
First grade, yeah.
Kindergarten.
Yeah.
Look, I skipped over. I said kindergarten and second grade.
That's okay.
I
wasn't that smart for that.
I'm sure. I'm positive. One conversation with Travis, and you'll know that, yes, by all means, he could have skipped from kindergarten to fifth grade at least. But at any rate, he is retired, 26 years in the Air Force. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for letting me.
My first question, before we even dive into the penny, is more so about military television shows and movies, actual, factual, or some events are true. Or I'm a big JAG fan. I'm still watching old episodes.
Well, go watch Iron Eagle because it's all 100% true.
Iron Eagle.
It's the best and only Air Force movie out there. And yes, all pilots wear Walkmans strapped to their legs as they fight in the dogfights. Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, I'll have to go and check out Iron Eagle.
Don't blame me afterwards.
In the interim, outside of retiring from the Air Force, you are also the Strategic Initiatives Manager for a local industry. So you're just well planted into our community. So we are very excited to be talking to you today about a very important topic, and that is of the capital penny sales tax referendum that is coming up, is showing up on this year's ballot, November 5th, 2024. A big day for us, a big opportunity for us in Sumter County, South Carolina. Let's talk a little bit about that. How well versed are you about the penny? What do you know about the penny? Share that with me and the importance of passing that referendum here in Sumter.
Yeah, so what I like to tell folks is that to answer your very first question, because I did what I often do, which is get sidetracked, I came back into Sumter in 2018 through my own Air Force journey. I did leave for 2 years to Korea, but as we were there during COVID, the family said, yep, we need to go back to the States, and we sat down, and 100%, all of them said, we want to go back to Sumter.
Yay, that's good to hear.
It is, and there's a reason for that, and there's a reason that the family, when we decided to retire and settle our roots down deep, is that we chose Sumter. And that was one for the community and the pieces and parts that we saw, and then for me, choosing to work here in Sumter was because I saw people investing in our community.
That's good.
So I wanted to stay somewhere where people cared about where they live and made a difference. And so turning down other jobs and opportunities outside of Sumter was purely because I enjoyed people that were participating in improving. So when you talk about the penny taxes, when we first came, we started seeing the impact of the last round that got passed, and we got to see we heard all the bad things about moving back to Sumter, and I heard the bad things from when I left Sumter. It had not the greatest reputation online.
You heard about that in the first grade?
Yeah, well, from back, I got to hear my dad back then complain a little bit.
I was like, geez.
No, I was a very educated first grader.
Travis,
I was politically involved. No.
Clearly.
No, but you'd hear bad roads, trash, all these things. My dad would talk about big businesses coming down and shutting down small businesses. And now you see where small businesses are starting to thrive, the roads are being improved. We actually have good parks, and we started to have trail systems, all the things we really love. And when I started looking into why was that, it came down to, especially while I was doing my military transition, I was looking for people I could find that were involved in that discussion. And when my research came through this penny tax thing, I started looking in documents for who was working that, and I found those invested people that were making a difference.
That's right.
And so I got to see that kind of happening. That's what excited me personally.
That is right. Now, the penny touches lots of different facets or areas in the community. There's the economic development piece. Correct. There is the infrastructure and roads piece. There's the quality of life and public safety. Now, is there one particular area that speaks volumes to you that you find that's, I'm going to say, closer to your heart, or something that you've experienced in particular that you're like, gosh, I really do. You talked about the roads and things that you would hear your father saying, but are the roads better that you're seeing now? Or is there anything in particular, the parks, that speaks to you? So I'm circling around here, Travis. Help me out, Travis.
There are three items that speak to me incredibly.
Okay.
And the first is, I mentioned the roads. being able to drive around and, we all complain about potholes and everything. When you get to see, and we're, I like to say we're a smallish town, but we got a lot of road out there, and it takes a lot to maintain those. Do you mind if I jump into a quick story and then circle back around? We're going to jump everywhere today.
Jump in. My old cheerleading days, I want to say jump in and talk about yourself.
So here's, I was driving around with a businessman from town, been in business here for over 30 years. And I was driving him out to our plant. And as we're driving out, he goes, hey, do you drive all your executives out this way? I said, absolutely. They need to see the good, the bad, but as you're driving through the quote unquote bad, you get to see the improvements that are happening. The parks under construction. You get to see pavement.
That's right.
You get to see the utility. So you get to see all that. And he's like, that is awesome. And to his own heart, this is, and I'll not quote him directly to save him, but he said it warms his heart because he then told me his own story, which was somewhere about 15 to 20 years ago, somebody was coming in to make a big investment into the town, another plant. They landed their fancy jet out at Sumter Airport, and as they were driving into town, it took no more than about 10 minutes, and the executive said, turn around. And he goes, oh, no, sir, we got a full day for you. We got everything. He goes, no, turn around. He goes, I've seen the conditions of the roads. I see how you take care of your town. A town that doesn't invest in itself is not one worth investing in.
Wow, I think you need to say that again because that's important. A town that doesn't.
A town that doesn't invest in itself is not worth investing in.
Wow.
And so this gentleman turned around, got back on his jet, and left without bringing his plant to Sumter.
Wow.
Now take that back to today, and the company I work for looked at 200 sites across North America, and Sumter was the last one to join into that search, and we won. And why was that? It was because when you talk to the executives now, were there some other incentives in other places that were more highly trafficked and maybe larger metropolitan areas? Yes. But the CEO will tell you it's because he met the town, he met the people, he saw the investment happening. That changed his decision.
That's right.
For that reason, roads, infrastructure. Now, I told you there were two others.
Yes.
So I'm going to monopolize the time here. The second one is I love the outdoors. I love Poinsett State Park. I love what we've done recently with recently in the last few years with Shot Pouch Greenway.
I love that.
If people don't even realize it's there.
No.
You go down
take that walk.
And so take the walk, take your bike, get out there and see it. But when you see, we have a few bike trails. We have a few things that you can get out and get outdoors in the parks. That's what I really love. I love, from talking to people, the vision of eventually someday connecting our local bike and walk trail system within Sumter with Poinsett State Park. I've heard visions of connecting it with rail trails out in Florence. So imagine us being connected to the Palmetto Trail that goes across the entire state, goes through Poinsett State Park, but being connected to where you could get on and just do that all from downtown Sumter all the way through.
And it all starts with investing in your community.
Absolutely.
Most people, the thing is, if you're unaware, you think that things just happen, and they aren't always getting an opportunity to get the peek behind the curtain, if you will, of knowing that this is how things happen, and this is how things work, and they're like, well, I know that I want this for the community, or we need more walking trails, or we need, more companies here, or we need more roads. This is your opportunity to be a part. Right? This is an opportunity to be a part and really understanding what's going on. And that is why we're trying to make sure that we're educating people of what's happening and what's going on. Because the second part of that is it's not just the awareness, but it's the action component. It is actually going out. You've said so much here today, but people need to know what they can do to be a part of this goodness that you're talking about. They're like, I can agree with Mr. Travis Norton. The roads have improved. What's next? What's best? How do I invest in my community? So how can they do that? How can they participate and support?
Get involved. I mean, first off, have the discussions you need to have. Once again, do something a little bit deeper than a social media search on the information.
Good old social media.
I mean, Google is an amazing thing, and it will link onto whatever you normally search through. But do a deeper dive. Go look at it, and be involved in the discussions. If there's things you don't agree with it. But then look at the big picture with peace. You mentioned on, we don't know what we don't know. And we take advantage of some of these blessings, as we talked about. You can argue. I don't think anybody can argue we need, to maintain our roads. And what happens if we don't pass this and we don't have it? Money's got to come from somewhere to keep our roads.
It's got to come from somewhere.
It's gonna come from somewhere. So we can talk about where that's going to be. But the other, our first responders. I mean, everything that we take advantage for. You never know that you need to invest into a fire department until it's too late. And when you let that go for so long, so I had the opportunity, we partner with the fire department here for building our plant, and going through and seeing the fire departments that have been impacted by the penny in the past is amazing. But then you go to others and you talk to them, they're like, hey, we're kind of showing you our own shiny penny right now because this is what's invested in, but go see these outliers that are not the one in downtown Sumter.
That's right.
And you see that, hey, they're very good and filled with professionals that get frustrated because their equipment is getting old. And they need that updated equipment because once again, if you do not invest in them now, sure, they're fine right now. But when you look at what happens in 4 to 5 years or less, man, that is probably the most important part of investment is in those first responders because we need them more than we
to
know.
respond.
Yeah,
we need them to respond first.
Exactly. Yes.
We need the first responders to respond.
They take care
first.
of us when we're in our worst times.
That's right.
So we need to make sure that they're ready and prepared for that.
Need.
Absolutely.
And with that also, it brings to mind the importance and significance. We always talking about maintaining our talent and our workforce and attracting young talent here, where people want new, updated equipment in order to work with, in order to implement those skills. So if we want to keep our people here, we need to make sure that we're providing updated areas, parks, roads, keeping our quality of life and our recreation up to par.
Absolutely.
so that it's an attractive area. We already have attractive people. We need to make sure that it's beautiful places, spaces, and faces. So we get this great opportunity on November 5th. So what would you say to all of the people who are listening, watching, tuning in about the importance of November 5th, 2024?
Participate, vote, get out. Talk to your friends to do the same. Be a truly informed voter, and be a participant in the citizenry. I mean,
just like that.
It's that simple. I mean, it's a few minutes a day that makes such a big change in everything we do. And you talk about, some people poo-poo the quality of life initiatives. I will tell you that is a huge piece for everybody we interview that comes in, whether they're local or those are just outside of Sumter, is they don't realize all the great things we have. And when we show them the gyms within our community, as well as the gyms as in GEM, or the workout gyms.
Or I was going to say JYMC, no.
Gym.
GY.
The GYMs and the gyms. But when you get to show that excites them. And because the fitness, and it's part of what builds community, families, and all the rest. So back to your question, get out, participate, vote, get into a discussion about what you don't like about it, please.
Yes. 30 projects at stake this year. That's huge.
The large industries that come in and that economic development, it doesn't just feed that large industry.
That's right.
Logistics matters. Supply chain matters. Large industries, ours is one that's coming in, not only hires workers, that's great. Everyone knows that. You can get a job. But for these large corporations and large industries to make more money, which we're all capitalists, they all want to do that, you want to spend less money on logistics. That means you want to buy more things local. That's right. Not just your retail either. That's hey, who's making that metal piece for you? Who's making that packaging for you? Who's moving that equipment? Who's driving the trucks? Guess what? We don't want to hire someone from, another state to come all the way out here, or a company that runs out of California to work in South Carolina.
That's right.
We want to do it here. And so that brings more opportunity, and it feeds the beast that makes us great.
So you know what, Travis, before we go, I want to just say, I said earlier about the 30 projects, and some are recreational, some are life-saving, some are for public safety. What happens if we fail our community, if you will, or what happens if we do not pass this penny this year?
It is a compounding problem. And what do I mean by that? There are things we have to do. The government has a responsibility to make sure safety is there. So safety and the first responders have to happen. So we either let them degrade to a point that's just barely above passing, which we're not going to like, and that bill will come to keep them at just barely passing of what their requirements are. That money has to come from somewhere. Okay.
Where does it come from?
That's a great question. So does it come from increased taxes somewhere else? Absolutely. We're going to see probably,
Ouch.
I would say probably, property taxes is the first thing that
Ouch.
always goes up. Roads have to be done.
That's right.
Okay. Same good thing you're going to see. You're going to see an increase. The penny tax benefits based off the fact that it's not just us. Yes, we pay a little bit more at the cash register, but so does everybody else coming through town, the visitors, everything else, that 30%.
We like to share with our neighbors.
We do, because they come here for a reason, and that's what's important. They come here for what we offer, so they contribute as well as visitors here. Now, the other thing is why I say it's compounding is we stop investing in ourselves, we stop having other people invest in it, you'll start seeing it all decline. Even that 30% that travels through, that starts decreasing. And the number of people that come through and start participating both in our businesses as well as the funding for these taxes that affect more than just Sumter as far as those that are paying into it, it all decreases. And so it's a compounding problem. So this is one of those things that it's a penny.
It's a penny.
It's a penny.
That can make a big difference.
Huge world of difference.
I know someone who loves to say little Lincoln's, big change.
Yeah, I like that.
That one little penny can make a big, big difference. Thank you again, Travis, for your time today. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All of your words of wisdom, and once again, thank you for your service, and thank you for making Sumter home, man. It's just good to see you with that Sumter pride, and I look forward to maybe seeing you in the park. I am one that I enjoy a park too, and I live very close to Patriot Park.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the trails, and I've had an opportunity to hang out at Shop Pouch. Man, we have to make sure that we keep the dogs leashed so that I can enjoy it as well.
My dog just wants to give you a big old hug and kiss. That's all he wants.
We're gonna pass on that. It's not a hard no, but we're gonna pass. It's a soft no. But at any rate, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And all of your energy today. So
Thank
once
you,
again, Travis Norton.
Thank you, Erica.